TGIF, everybody. How you doing? Hi, Kevin, Brock, Nikita, I agree with you. They want Trump because the rest of the world is drifting towards China. Hello, Gorkum. I think they'd want to continue that. Just my opinion. Hi, Didier, Sinatra. Everyone doing okay? I'm fine. You know, it was kind of a non-eventful week except for precious metals and currencies. Look at these tight ranges here. You have an inside week in euro. It's completely neutral. But since we're in a bullish mode, you have to give that the benefit of the doubt. I still think there's a chance we pull back in euro, but we're going to have to take out the 1750 level. We get through there, then maybe you can make a case for, 200 pips from here to here under 117. It's going to give you 115-ish. But we could just as easily blow to new highs, and for 3, I mean, it's so far a very weak rebound in the dollar off a double bottom. So, and we had a chance for a 2-week reversal here. All we had to do was, let's see, where's it come in? 93.46. Well, could still do it. But again, you see double inside weeks in the Dixie. So it makes me think that next week, even though it's August, we're going to have some expanded ranges. When you have a couple of inside weeks, tight ranges, what I'd be looking for is maybe some type of outside week where it takes out this week's range on both the upside, the downside, then how it closes is where we're going next time. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, so gold and interest rates, I mean, TLT got smashed. Was talking about this for the last couple of weeks, even with guests. I kept ringing up, asking them what they thought about that mantra, lower for longer, and Paul saying, I'm not even thinking of raising rates, and then rates start to head up. So yeah, TLT had a pretty negative week. Here's your 10-year, one of the biggest ranges in a while. Right. This definitely looks pretty good to me. This looks like a magnet at 120. So we're not even halfway through the move. It's a quarter of the way through. So not too late. But the big action obviously was in the precious metals. Usually, it was big on the way up and it was big on the way down. So, and this doesn't look that good, to me, it looks like we're setting up for May, like Greg has said. Yeah. That after we completed that we'd get some type of at least an ABC. So this could be ABC for A, and now we're in a B. Blake thinks, 2000's possible, and it is, but this, whether it's over here or we extend, looks like a failing rally. And let me ask you why I think there's another low coming in gold. Any guesses? Besides that, it was such a huge move and we didn't quite get to 1800. I think that, well, those were part of it. But look at this reading here. 8, 9. Come on, you guys know I use a real simple implicator. Because I'm always wrong. No divergence. Confirm low. Anyway, you have to go to summer school, Nikita. All right. But it'll be virtual learning so that we could stay safe from COVID. Anyway, you know, what to do on a Friday. Friday, I don't initiate a lot of new stuff, but I will say this, that the S&Ps are starting to look a little tired here. You know, we diverged at new highs. Maybe this could stretch into next week, but you know, even the S&P, look at these weekly ranges we've had. It sounds, you know, by what you're hearing and seeing about action in individual stocks, we haven't really made any progress for, I'd say, 4 or 5 weeks. So I still think, and you've never heard me cry wolf again, sideways action. No, I think that we're going to top. It was either this week or next week, and that we're going to have a pullback in the S&Ps to under the towards the 2,700 handle. Here you go. This is where I think we're going, and then back up to, you know, 4,000. So I'm not sure what the fib retracement is, but I still think we could get this. Again, no 2-week reversal here either, but next week it's going to be pretty easy. So you may want to write this number down for next week. By next Friday, if we close under 33.5150, that would be a 2-week reversal. Okay, looking for it. And, you know, Aussie, I worked it from the short side this week, but look how tight the Aussie range is. And it's actually an inside week. So, you know, maybe we end up with some type of outside week. It takes out this week's highs first and then fails. I'm still leaning towards, if I'm looking for a correction in stocks, I'm looking for a pop in the dollar. As long as the dollar is soft, the S&Ps could continue. But as soon as we get a pop in the dollar, which, you know, is it carving out something? Are we going to wash one more time towards 91? I think we'll have our answers here. I just thought we'd get a bounce back to 95, 95 and a half. I think that would give us some risk off. And I hope everyone had a decent week. Anyone, any new members of ForexAnalytix in here? I'd like to meet you. If you signed up, say hello. Nikita didn't do it yet. Gilberto did. Hi, Eric. Nice to meet you. You're new? Okay. Nice to meet new people. Are you a subscriber? Gilberto? Eric? No subscribers? Because there's some nice trades that the crew has going. You're just beginning in this? Okay. Can I tell you something? You're just beginning in this. The secret to trading is there is none. It's just hard work, perseverance, and living through adversity. And if that scares you, do something else. And with that, here's a guy. Yeah, that's tougher. Here's a guy that has persevered. Blake Morrow. He's becoming like a veteran guy now. He's trying to catch up to me. Never be able to.
I know. It's like I'm trying. I'm trying.
Well, you know, if I leave the planet in a few years, all you have to do is go maybe another 15, 20 years, and people will be calling you an old man.
Yeah, that's it.
Something to look forward to, huh?
Can't wait.
Yeah, I could tell how excited you are.
I know. Well, happy Friday to you, Dale.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear about the air conditioner on the hottest day in hell.
Yeah, well, I was telling the ForexAnalytix team this morning. So yesterday afternoon, one of our AC units went out, which is always fun when it's the hottest summer on record where I live. And it was a balmy 114 yesterday, I think. Yeah, something like that.
It was 100 in San Marcos yesterday.
Oh, it's disgusting. So anyway, Bill said it's 116. So there we go. So one of my AC units went out, and I'm like, oh, well, that's nice. So fortunately I got somebody coming this morning. And the other fortunate thing is the AC units into the bedrooms were working. So that's the good news. So anyway, it's just, if it's not one thing, it's another in this heat. It's gross. Anyway,
and another boring week in currency.
Currencies have been really, really choppy. They have been very choppy, and there's not a, let's see, hold on. Yeah, let me grab the charts. It's been really choppy, but let's not ignore the fact that the S&P is near all-time highs. So, and that's we're right at all-time highs right now.
Yeah.
So the question is, do we break out or don't we? So that's all you got to really, that's all that's really developing right now is, do we break out or don't we break out? Today we have retail sales in about less than 20 minutes. I don't necessarily believe that retail sales will be the end all be all of equities, but I'll tell you what, the market is, and the U.S. Well, I should say this. The U.S. economy is really driven by the consumer, so retail sales are going to be pretty important for the market. So what we're looking for today is retail sales. Will be at 1.3% expectation, and remember, they're going to be tapering off as the stimulus ends. And so what I think is going to happen is consumers are going to really tighten their belts, in the months ahead, especially with Congress not being able to get their crap together and come up with another aid package. People are going to really start to not spend. And
is that done for sure? They couldn't come back. That's it. They're done for a month. They're on vacation.
Yeah, unless there's a deal on the table. And people go, well, why didn't that turn around stocks? Why didn't stocks turn around? And my opinion is, well, everybody knows that a deal is going to get done, but will it be 2 weeks from now, or will it be a month from now? So the market's not worried about something getting done. It's going to take a little bit longer.
And maybe the market's wrong. Maybe they're too complacent about something getting done.
Maybe
our government's dysfunctional enough. You said it.
It is, and I guess one thing we can't ignore is that we are in we're in an election cycle right now, and there's a lot of seats up for grabs in both the House and the Senate, and you got the presidential race, and why can't the finger pointing start right now?
I wish you would run.
Well, at the expense of the people, which
yeah, right.
Politicians, they're all, for the most part, they're all wealthy. So, what do they care? I mean, they're supposed to fight for the people, but, I'm talking both sides too. I'm not talking about, one side or the other. I'm just talking about politicians in general.
Yeah, they both suck. Both sides.
Yeah, they do. And so you've got a situation where they're like, well, we're fighting for the people, so we're not going to make a deal. And then no one makes a deal. And then the people suffer, and, and it goes into chaos. So is that possible that happens? Yeah, but I think right now the market assumes that a deal, some sort of deal, will get done in the weeks ahead, and that's why stocks are still holding up here. So, but what I got to do is I've got to go through the majors, Dale. Because we could sit here and go round and around about that topic all day long, but we got to talk about what's happening in currencies. So, here's the euro. We're trading mid-range, exactly mid-range. The 50% retracement of this range is 118.14. We are trading at 118.14. So if you just delete everything else that I've got here, just delete this, we're at the 50% of the range right now. So what does that mean? Well, that means that the market's in a range and we're right in the middle of it. So your risk reward at this point is not very good, long or short, right? That's the bottom line. So resistance today, we've got to look at the 118.70, and if you don't recall, that was the 161% extension of this move, and the 78% retracement of that move. That was the number yesterday. We're going to write that down again today, 118.70. So, we're still bullish while we're above 117. So, 117.10, I think, is support. We're still bullish while we're above 117. You just, it'd be better to buy it down here than, where we're currently at. Not saying that it can't go up from here. I'm just saying from a risk reward perspective. Okay. Cable. We got to be careful this triangle resistance. If we're building a triangle consolidation, we're back up at the 618. If you look at other pound pairs, there's a lot of pound crosses that are breaking out today. So that's one of the reasons why I think that the cable is stronger. But let's mark up yesterday's highs at 111.25. I know we went 111.26, but 131. I'm sorry, 131.25. We're still bullish while we're above 130, obviously, but let's say that support will be all these lows that we had held yesterday at 130, say roughly 130.45. Sorry, my eye itched. Excuse me really quick. Okay, sorry. You guys can't see that I was rubbing my eye, but 130.50, okay, 45. Still bullish. Aussie and the Kiwi traded heavy yesterday. Something we got to note. And I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna point this out really quick. Let's go over to a 4-hour chart and actually a daily chart's probably the best. Let's just look at this and think for a moment. This could be building a head and shoulder pattern. This being the head up here. Okay, shoulders being, maybe 172 right now that we're dealing with, and that's obviously resistance. It's a 618 retracement, so 171.90. So that's a number we obviously got to keep watching. We're bullish right now while we're above that 70, 75. You guys know that the dotted line right here that I keep talking about. But we're going to also carefully watch today dips to 71.10, because if it's a complex head and shoulder pattern, we have that, more of a tilted neckline. It's possible. So just, we have to be careful if we break this support. Just kind of be very careful with any longs if you got them. Okay. Kiwi. Let's talk about the Kiwi. I only got 10 minutes, so I got to talk quickly. So right now we're holding the lows post RBNZ, which come in at 65.22. So I'm going to write 65.20. We have 65 support, 65.20, and then resistance is at 66 cents. And I'm going to, once again, put the Kiwi at range just because it's really just kind of sitting there. You know what I mean? It's not going anywhere, and that's a little nerve wracking if you're long the Kiwi. Okay. I'm just moving my way down. Dollar Canadian. So the dollar Canadian was my chart of the day yesterday. So if you didn't see the chart of the day yesterday, this Benedict in the chat room brought up this chart, well, this trend line for me a couple of days ago. He's like, hey, he was like, hey, I'm looking at this trend line. I'm like, you know what? That was the previous triangle trend line that we were looking at a long time ago. And when I drew the top end of the triangle and the lower end of the triangle, what happened is we are intersecting with, there's the 200-week moving average there too, but really we're intersecting with all the support. Comes in right around, let's just say roughly 131.75. So, the dollar Canadian, don't forget last week we actually posted a false breakdown below 133. Now, right now we are below 133. We're at 132.51 right now. But the week's not over yet, right? We have retail sales coming out. I'm not saying that we're going to close the week back above 133, but if we do, I don't think anybody's going to want to be short dollar Canadian, because you try to drive it below 133 2 weeks in a row, and it's back above 133. Now, there's a lot of time left in the day, and it looks bearish for right now, but we're also holding some pretty key support. So let's write down yesterday's lows as support. And by the way, if you haven't seen this, we are divergent on relative strength on a daily chart too. That's another thing you got to keep an eye on. All right. So resistance right now is going to be the overnight resistance at, this 132.60. I'm going to write down a couple levels. 132.60, 133, and support being basically 132. That spike low, oh, I guess we did go to that spike low, didn't we? It's going to be 131.90. Gosh, I got to keep moving. Let's go Swissy. Same, right? 90.50, 92, 92.40. Same numbers that we've written down every day, I think, this week. So I'm going to do it again. $90.50, 92, 92.40, bearish. While we're below 92.40, it's bearish. Dollar yen. Dollar yen really struggling with this 107 twice. Nice little double top here. So a break below 106.50 should give us 106 again. Just a simple range extension. So just let's write down those numbers. 106.50, because this is the breakout point right here, right? Okay. Support 106.50. Resistance 107. 107, and that's important because it's a 50% retracement. We're still range bound, so don't get too terribly excited about the dollar yen either direction. DXY, where is my DXY? Oh, there it is. Same thing, 92.50, 94, all right. No need to go any deeper than that. 92, 92.50. Dollar Mexican peso. So the dollar Mexican peso yesterday broke through the 618 retracement. I got out of my dollar Mexican peso as it went through that Banxico. Irritated about that because it just, we've had limited follow through thus far. But what I am looking for in the dollar Mex is something like this, especially if stocks continue to be strong. something like this, down to the 786, maybe to the 88% retracement and a bounce. So we're going to mark down support today as being 2207. Still range bound, guys. 2207. Resistance is this trend line now, which comes in at 2230. It's in a range longer term. Let's not forget that and by the way, the US dollar Turkish lira is rallying today. It's rallying, and the rand is also a little weaker. So it's the weak emerging market currencies could eventually weigh on the peso. So just keep that in mind if you're trying to play it on the short side. But we did close below the 618, which is 22.25, which I think is pretty important right now. That's why I'm not trying to buy it today, and I know that it's below here, and stocks are still pretty elevated. So speaking of elevated stocks, 3,400, 3,300 is bullish, right? So that's easy. Oops, I forgot that Norwegian Krona. 3,300, 3,400. And remember, there's, above 3,400, there's just air. So we get above 3,400, we should get a pretty decent squeeze. US dollar, Norwegian Krona, surprisingly, is stronger today. Now we came really close to the 618, 161% extension of this last bounce, which comes in at 881, which I will write down as support, but resistance is right now is 9, because that's the trend line. So 9. And last but not least, gold. And guys, Steve, Stelios, good morning, guys. How you doing?
You are gold. Good morning.
Gold, I know. What I think what we've said in gold has been 1900 support. Resistance 1994 is the 618. We're struggling as we get towards the 50% retracement. So I'm going to write down, and this high right here. So I'm going to write down 1970 and 1900. So 1900. 1970, and we're still bullish. But I'll tell you what, Stelios, we've had a nice bounce the last couple of days, right?
Yes, we have, and the question is, what is this bounce? I've been saying this on the chat room and here also on Face that I think there's more downside to come. I'm long term very bullish, and I have been, that. But I think we will see. That's the thing. This bounce is going to be short lived. We'll see another leg lower, probably coinciding with equities, maybe going lower. Maybe I'm crazy for saying this, but I think we'll see another drop, and then will be the time to buy.
Well, we'll see if we can. I mean, I was looking at silver yesterday. We're ripping, like just ripping too. I mean, it's so. Yeah. So anyway, I don't know if. I think precious metals, I really believe that they're just going to consolidate these recent gains. And I think we're just going to be in a consolidation phase here.
I think we'll see the 1600 handle.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah. 1680, 1650, and then 2500.
Wow.
Could be.
That would be something. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Well, they don't call you Pinkert for anything for nothing. Steve, are
I
you
guess
here?
a lot.
I'm here, mate. Good morning.
Good morning.
Volky.
Here's your data coming up. We have in 30 seconds retail sales. That's your data flash that you get as a ForexAnalytix subscriber. So just remember, this is part of the package with ForexAnalytix. It is
fast.
It's just about as fast as Bloomberg. You'll see right here. I mean,
no one else does this for their subscribers.
It beat Bloomberg yesterday.
Yeah.
Where's my retail sales? There they are.
No joke.
Watch retail sales. 2.1%. Bloomberg's looking for the core. 1.9 over.
Underwear.
Oh, it beat Bloomberg again.
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 Wow.
Wow is right. Wow. And the core retail
Strong.
sales came in.
Yeah, that's good numbers. Unit labor costs a lot higher, so this is good numbers overall. Non-farm productivity a lot higher, so some good stuff.
Yeah, so
It's a lot of face masks.
Yeah, overall retail sales, I mean, core looked better. Retail sales, which is, minus the big ticket items. Minus the big ticket items, right? The headline, no, because the headline number, the retail sales number is with all the big ticket items. Core is minus the big ticket items, which, well, it makes sense. I mean, people are buying things, but they're just not buying the expensive stuff. I mean, if you want to make it kind of easy, right?
Hey, Blake, before you go, Mark Smith would like to see your bias chart, maybe so he could take a screenshot or something.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
so before you go.
Yep, sure thing. Hey, guys, first of all, before I do that, just remember, if you're not part of ForexAnalytix, make sure you try us out. It's only $1 for 10 days, and if you want to learn how to get it free, possibly go to the Forex sponsored link on ForexAnalytix. I'll let you guys do that yourself. And then here is your bias chart for you. And I hope you guys all have a great weekend. Remember, no daily roundup webinar, which is the one I do 4 hours from now, Monday through Thursday for the ForexAnalytix subscribers. We don't have it on Friday. So have a great weekend, everybody, and wish me luck on my air conditioning.
Yeah, I hope it's a minor repair
Good
for
luck,
you,
mate.
bro.
Me too. It's either a $300 fix or a
All new
$7,000 to
compressor.
$10,000 fix. So let's hope it's it's the
fuse. Yeah.
Fuse. I actually replaced the fuses last night. It wasn't that. It's the
unit.
It's the fan engine more than likely. Hopefully it's not the condenser or maybe the compressor. Yeah, then I've got other issues. Anyway, we'll see.
All right, buddy.
All right. See
Have
you
a
guys.
good weekend, man.
Thanks.
Bye-bye,
you guys
mate.
too.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you, guys.
Hey guys,
Hey,
TGI.
Stelios.
Hey man.
TGIF.
Yes. So, what's been happening overnight? Struggling to find things. We're still, Blake mentioned it, we're still in a deadlock in the US regarding the support measures. Republicans and Democrats still not agreeing. And from what I understand, they're now adjourned until early September. So anything that will be passed or can be passed can only be done by executive order, and that also has limits. So, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. Like Blake said, I think the market is not worried about an agreement taking place and more support coming. The question is when and what extent. That's why the market is not really panicking over this yet.
Well, maybe we need some weak numbers and not having a support package in at the same time. I think the market's pretty complacent about there not being a deal because, I mean, even
The
if
market
one
is
happened,
pretty complacent about
everything.
everything.
I know.
I mean, there isn't one thing the market isn't complacent about, really.
Well,
we can get to the precipice of a nuclear war and the market is still going to manage to be complacent.
It might have a little bit of fear of heights starting to develop here. Oh, anyway.
Yes. The other big news was an agreement between the United Arab Emirates and Israel, where they're going to start normalizing the relations, whatever that means in particular. But basically, there was a joint statement between two countries and the US saying, they want to establish normal ties, et cetera, et cetera. So that's good news for sure in terms of stability. I don't know details about all the stuff that's happening in that part of the globe, so I can't have an opinion. But definitely, in terms of stability, it should be good news. On the other hand, you have a small. It's not a big deal. It's actually here in our country. We have a little bit of an issue with Turkey and Greece. The Turks have sent a ship exploring oil reserves and gas reserves in what we think is what actually is Greek waters. But anyway, it's not a big deal. People are asking me, "Oh, is this war happening?" No, it's not. So I don't think it's a big deal.
I war gamed that one, Stella, in my bathtub last night with my two little plastic boats that bumped into each other.
Yeah.
And nothing happened. A few bubbles popped up.
Yeah, for people who are worried about that, we've seen things like this from between Greece and Turkey for years and years, and it's no big deal. And Turkey, they had at some point views of ascension to the EU. Things like this will definitely hamper their chances or kill them altogether. And the problem is you have somebody there who is quite aggressive.
I don't think they ever had, Stelio. I think it was a pretense because it was convenient at that time. I think that Erdogan was never on board with such a scenario because you can't, in essence, be more or less a dictator and being under the EU umbrella. Plus, it was also a pretense from the side of the EU because I think that the EU never actually was even seriously considering about getting Turkey in for various reasons, as you understand.
Yeah, maybe. So for people who are worried about this and reading news items about it, it's no big deal, and at least not at the moment. So we've seen this many times before. And what else is there? We had Eurozone GDP. These numbers, they come in exactly in line with the expectations. It's amazing. Even numbers like GDP, which are very volatile now, minus 12.1% as expected, and trade balance better than expected. But really, these numbers are not really moving markets at the moment. So like Blake said, I think we're still waiting on equities to see what's going to happen. Precious metals are correcting. Kind of makes sense, I think, to consolidate and to correct a little bit lower. I hope they correct a lot lower so I can get really long again. It was a good run last time. I can't complain, and I'd like to get another one. Really, as I said, it's equities, and I don't see anything that's going to trigger equities higher or lower now. I mean, we have very little data left today. Unless there's some kind of a tape bomb, we'll probably grind sideways into the weekend. And that's pretty much it. I'm struggling to find anything interesting to say today.
Yeah, so, the markets are still doing their thing. I mean, FX has been consolidating now. It's been roughly a couple of weeks that FX, the vast majority of FX is consolidating. Equities continue this very slow grind higher, as you said. The only thing that has actually produced worth mentioning moves has been the metals. Everything else is, like nothing is happening. So the dollar still looks heavy. I mean, everything looks to me on the charts like the dollar is probably consolidating before another leg to the downside. Equities, are doing their thing, and it's really very, very hard to predict, what's going to be the catalyst for them to break lower. Under the current circumstances, it wouldn't even be surprising if they just break lower without any real catalyst. Just a technical event that's going to last a few days, shake out, some weak hands, exactly as it happened with the metals, before the grind higher can actually resume. Cryptocurrencies have not really been affected, other than the first day of the move lower by the precious metals breaking down. In all actuality, Ethereum yesterday broke out from another consolidation, which was clearly bullish. I mean, after you enter like a symmetrical triangle, following like a sharp move higher, the vast majority of the chances is to see a resolution to the upside. So will Bitcoin follow Ethereum? The previous time that Ethereum had a lead, which was when it was actually breaking through this larger channel, Bitcoin actually did follow to the upside. So I think there is a good chance that the same thing is going to happen in this case. So cryptocurrencies remain, very well bid. As you very well said, gold and silver especially silver produced, some really good rebounds. But I do think that the path of least resistance probably from this point in the short term is lower once again. So especially silver, I think silver gave an amazing opportunity, going all the way up to 27.5 plus. For somebody to be short. Now, I'm personally not looking to be short, but from a risk reward perspective, following the prior move lower, I think there is a decent chance that silver is either going to produce one more leg to the downside or start consolidating in a broad range, which, if that's the case, it might not make it all the way down to the previous low, but I mean, retesting 25, for example, yeah, it can easily do that. So it remains to be seen what kind of formation silver and gold are going to be producing here. But needless to say, I don't think it's very easy for them to be posting, new highs within a matter of like just a few days. I think it's going to last a little bit longer than that. My confidence is extremely high, though, that, either it happens fast or it happens a little bit slower, they will be producing higher highs. Now,
Steve,
copper,
there is a reason why there might be some turns in the next couple of days. And I know that you take this pretty seriously. So I'm going to let you know that Uranus turns retrograde in Taurus.
Okay.
And Norm Winsky will be with us at the top of the hour to talk about Uranus.
Initially, I was kind of scared because I thought you were telling me that you're Uranus, but then I realized that it's Uranus.
Yeah. And Taurus.
Greek word Uranos, by the way, which is the sky. That's the name of.
Well, I just, I didn't want you to go through the whole trading day without knowing that.
Yes,
right.
But yeah, I'm not trading based on that. I can tell you that much.
Bet you're clicking your mouse right now. Okay.
Yeah. What I can tell you though is copper looks really, really good.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems to be completely unfazed. It has already spent a decent amount of time consolidating its prior gains. I don't know, but it looks, really good to me. A break above like 290. I think we're going to be seeing copper trading.
Let's say the weekly on that.
At 350. Listen, if I zoom out, you're going to realize that, it's like we're in a very, very broad range, right? But even within that, I mean, a move towards 330 is very, very likely.
Yeah.
So, we are some distance from that. Now, eventually, if and when we break above 330, that's going to be, a very, very bullish development in the long term. I mean, it's going to open up a lot more upside. But, we have some distance from there, so we take it one day at a time. For the time being, I see here a most likely bullish consolidation. So I do think that copper is, worth monitoring. Nickel, we had said that the first area of support is at 1,055. We actually made it to that zone. There's still a chance that we're going to retest this ascending channel once again, but it's not necessarily the case. I mean, it still remains also in a nice ascending channel. In general, I think that anything that's tangible and anything that has an intrinsic value, not in a straight line, but is going to continue appreciating against the dollar over time. I think it's, a rather good bet that that's going to be the case. Continuation on US 10 bond price to the downside, US 10 year. Okay, now I'm a little bit confused, Jay, if you're asking about the yield or the price, because initially you said the price, then it doesn't really matter, to be honest, because we can talk about both of them. First of all, the 10-year yield seems to be breaking through this descending trend line resistance at the moment. which would imply that the 10-year treasuries, which are inversely correlated, might correct lower before we can see higher prices. It's not an easy market. I mean, just look back and see this market, since we had the latest intervention in March, in essence, tends to go for a long period of time in hibernation, then produces, a little bit of a move within like 3-4 days, and then goes in hibernation once again. So I have to tell you that I would be very skeptical about trading this market, knowing that, in essence, more or less, with all the issuance of US debt at the moment, which is happening at, a level that we've never ever seen before, probably nowhere on the planet, the treasury is, the only buyer at the moment. Meaning, more or less, we're still discussing the possibility of a yield curve control. Yeah, officially that's not the case. Unofficially, I think more or less, that's almost the situation we're in at the moment. Now, you want to look at it purely from a technical perspective. As I said, there seems to be like a start of a move higher in yields. That would open up again the probability of, retesting like 90 cents, 90 basis points, sorry, in the 10-year. But as I said, it's not easy to trade this market. I mean, I'm not sure it's a market anymore. That's the problem. 30-year also found a higher low at 1.17. Seems to be rebounding. We are above 1.4% on the 30-year at the moment. There is this trend line that currently passes from like 1.6%. If we actually break through that, we're going to be targeting once again levels at around 1.9%. But as I said, not an easy market to trade. I feel much more confident about the bunds. I like the rejection over there at 178. I was actually, looking for that, as a possible outcome. That was a pivot area at 178. So we got a nice rejection from there. There is still, quite some room to, first of all, go back to 174. Below 174, retest these ascending channels, trendline support, and we go below that. There's a possibility that we go all the way down to 168, which is the longer term channel. So I trust a lot more the price action in bunds, in the sense that it remains more of a market than whatever happens to the treasuries. That's the exact same reason why I'm really staying the hell away from USD yen, right? We know that USD yen is very nicely correlated to the treasuries, and that's one of the reasons why the USD yen is in essence one of the reasons, not the only reason, why it's trapped in a long-term symmetrical triangle. It's been producing lately like false breakouts, higher, lower, but at the end of the day, it's going nowhere. So I've literally completely stopped trading it. I mean, for a long period of time, and good for me, because I would have probably lost a lot of money here if I tried to trade it. And to be honest, I've got to the point that it was always up on my charts. Nowadays, I just have a look at it like three times per day, just to make sure that something big isn't happening that that I've missed. Now, if you're really eager to do something about USD yen, which I would definitely stay away from it, as I said, we seem to have rebounded within this channel. We seem to be turning lower. If we break through 106.30, I think, that would open more of a downside move, but, take that with a pinch of salt for all the reasons that I already mentioned, right? No need to go over the euro, the pound, and everything else. Nothing has changed since yesterday. I already said it in my introduction. Everything seems to me like the dollar is just consolidating before it breaks down once again and produces at least one more leg lower before we can see like a likely larger rebound. But in any case, any type of rebound from the dollar, until proven otherwise, I will consider it as corrective in nature. Somebody here is asking for the USD CAD, and they have to tell you that nothing has really changed in USD CAD as well. I mean, I said multiple times that, you know, USD CAD at some point might produce a nice move to the upside, but before we can even discuss the possibility, there needs to be a technical breakout, and the technical breakout would mean a break above this descending trend line resistance, because we have a very, very well-defined channel. And until we break out of this channel, there is no argument to be made about being long. Yeah, there are a lot of arguments to be made that the downside momentum has waned, that there are divergences, you know, in several time frames, so on and so forth. But none of that is, you know, produces a signal to be long at the moment, right? Next downside support is at 131.50, confluence of a horizontal support area and the 88.6% fib. So, you know, I would perhaps be interested to, like, you know, test my luck in being long in the short term, but only if we break through this channel. You know, no other scenario would make me even remotely interested. I mean, no real reason in trying to catch a falling knife. I'm assuming a lot of people have attempted doing so in the couple of days that we've had during the past few weeks that looked like the pair wants to, you know, reverse higher. But, you know, obviously they just lost money attempting to do so. So, you know, my advice is just wait for a breakout. Until then, just don't do anything. What about Aussie Yen and CAD Yen? I already talked about those yesterday. CAD Yen has actually broken out from this rectangle. So, you know, above, like, what is it? Like, you want to say 80, 79, 80, something like that. Above that area, you know, the path of least resistance is higher. Why not for another move towards this ascending channel trend line resistance? Having to do with Aussie Yen. Aussie Yen is actually well positioned for an eventual breakout because we've been trading within this ascending triangle. The range of the triangle has contracted very much. So, you know, it's inevitable that we're going to have a breakout, you know, be it lower, be it higher, but it's going to happen very, very soon. I think that there is a very good chance that a lot of limit orders, stop losses, etc., have been gathering either around 75 or above 77. And I think an eventual breakout in either direction is going to produce follow through. So I do think that this is probably quite a nice market to look to trade once we do see a breakout. Would Aussie Yen be moving down with equity forecasts? I'm assuming you mean that if equities move lower, asking if Aussie Yen will be moving lower. Most likely, yes. If we had this conversation a year ago, I would tell you that undeniably, yes. Aussie Yen traditionally was one of the best correlated FX pairs with equities. I mean, literally, they would pick almost together, right? This correlation has weakened substantially. And the main reason why this correlation has weakened substantially is because the bond markets are not markets anymore. So the correlation between bonds and equities has weakened substantially. So yes, most likely Aussie Yen is going to be breaking lower if equities reverse lower. But the correlation will not necessarily be as strong as it would be until, you know, a few months ago. I already covered gold, Sean. I gave my two scenarios about gold, either a longer term consolidation here before higher or another low before higher. I'm not questioning the higher part. I think that like 95% gold is going to be resuming higher. The question is from where. And as I've said multiple times, corrective formations are very easy to predict because they can unfold in multiple ways. So it's, you know, it's not that easy to make assessments. You know, if I had to at the moment, I would assume that gold is going to turn lower before it breaches through 1980. So I don't expect gold to move easily above 1980 before it suffers another sell-off, with 1815 being an area I would actually like as a potential area of support. You know, but that's only one of the two scenarios. As I said, there is also like a prolonged consolidation scenario that can play out. Yeah, a question about the Nifty. I forgot to mention it yesterday. Listen, the Nifty is still, you know, climbing a wall of worry. But in all honesty, I mean, so many RSI divergences, still following beautifully this ascending channel. Key area for the Nifty is at 10,900. So, you know, somebody can be bullish above that, although I wouldn't be buying the Nifty up here, I can tell you that much for sure. But I mean, if you really must be long the Nifty, you know, don't be long if we break through 10,900, because I think that the break through 10,900 is going to produce, you know, a big follow through to the downside. Even if that follow through, you know, proves to be corrective, I think we can easily find ourselves back towards like 9,700. So keep that in mind about the Nifty. Nothing has also changed having to do with US equities, you know, in the case of both the S&P and the Nasdaq, but if for some reason you also want to have a look like at the IWM, the Dow Jones, etc., you know, there is nothing that points to some kind of a technical damage. We need to see, you know, you want to take the example of the S&P, you need to see 33.25 break to the downside at the very least before we can start discussing for possibilities of you know, a breakdown. In the case of the Nasdaq, below 11,000. Until that happens, there is no real reason to even be discussing the possibility of more downside. So, you know, so on and so forth. You get it. And especially with the especially with the dollar looking like it wants to break down at least once more. You know, I wouldn't be currently betting against equities, not unless we see these numbers being taken out, as I said. Now, for the friend that is asking about the USD Turkish Lira, listen, I've warned during the years multiple times about the USD Turkish Lira. I've said multiple times that the USD Turkish Lira trend is one of the best established trends globally in FX. Keep in mind that back in 2008, the Turkish lira was trading at 115 against the Turkish lira, right? And we're currently roughly at 740. From a technical perspective, I see a large cup and handle formation here, which points a lot higher. We know that Turkey has a huge problem with its reserves. They've already, you know, spent a huge amount of the reserves trying to defend the lira, and of course, that is insufficient because the Turkish economy has huge problems. The vast majority of which comes from, you know, Erdogan's policies and his intent of, you know, having, you know, full control of, you know, economic and monetary policy. And of course, you know, that's not going to work out. So I really see no fundamental or technical reason about why somebody would want to be long the Turkish lira or alternatively, you know, short the USD Turkish lira. I mean, I do believe that the US dollar is going to be in deep trouble in the years ahead. But I really think that the Turkish lira has the potential of underperforming the dollar even during a period that it's not going to be doing well. Of course, nothing moves in a straight line, but to be honest, having to do with the Turkish lira, it has managed to move as close to as it is possible to moving in a straight line, right? And I see no reason why that would, you know, reverse. I think that if at some point the leadership in Turkey changes. I think that Turkey has many advantages as a country to do well, but it will need, a totally different approach. And if and when that happens, I will be more than happy to be long the Turkish lira and for a long period of time. I can tell you that much.
Thank you, buddy.
No, not yet. Who do we have today,
Norm
Dale?
Linsky.
Oh, yeah. You said it before. I completely forgot. Yeah. Okay.
That's why I brought up Uranus.
Again, talking about my anus. Okay.
And your Taurus. Your Taurus. Anyway, so yeah, Norm's with us, and have a great weekend, Steve. Great job.
Okay, everybody have a
week.
wonderful weekend.
All right, Norm. Good to have you back in the house. I'm going to get you set up now. Welcome back, Norm. Forex Gal's excited to see you.
Can you hear me now?
Got you. So a lot of people are happy to see you back. Well, at least Forex Gal is happy to see you back here.
Okay, give me just a few seconds. I didn't know we were going to start right now. I'm finishing.
Oh, you having breakfast?
Yeah, I'm finishing the last few bites of my bagel,
Your bagel?
Yep.
Yeah. Hey, Norm, do you know why they don't put Jewish people in jail?
Why is that, Dale?
Because they eat lox.
Okay.
All right, so you know how to share the screen?
There's the icon there. I'm going to click on that.
Okay.
And then I got to find my notes. Un momento. I'm going a little slow this morning.
I love lox.
You like that?
Yeah.
Okay, where is it now?
The green box, like the color of money.
I got to find the right thing. We got all these different things here. And
share. What good is anything until it's shared with another?
Why doesn't it show?
Except money.
Finding my notes. They're on the selection.
Okay.
That one. Okay, and then that. Was that it over there?
Not yet.
No. So you click the share, and then your screen comes up.
And then you get another screen that asks you to choose which window or screen you want to share. So
come on, you're a veteran in here.
It's a two-step process.
I'll try that one. I hope I didn't get the wrong thing. I don't know what that is. That's an email. That's not good.
That's an email, yes.
Yeah. So unshare.
Share again.
Yeah. Click it again.
Share.
So you unshare.
Sorry, I'm taking so long. I just don't see my
your notes.
Oh, I found it with the chart. Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
The chart there.
So unshare and then share the screen you
I got it now. How about that? Can you see a corn chart now?
Yeah.
Great.
All right, everyone. Norm's been guest on Face for years, and his expertise is using his planetary work. He was a trader at SIBO, and he started doing astrological things to meet girls in college, and turned into a career for him. And if you want to learn about these things that are pretty esoteric, and you don't see a lot of people that teach this type of analysis, Norm is a very good teacher. So if you have an interest in it, get a hold of him after his presentation. Take it away.
Thank you very much, Dale. Just a quick summary, add on to your introduction there. I've been studying the markets for over 50 years. I started when I was 15 years old, and now I'm 69. And like you said, I was started in investing using astrology, beliefs in the planets. Back in college, did that successfully, added to a small inheritance, and that led to my buying a membership in 1975 on the then fledgling Chicago Board Options Exchange. And then later on, I traded also at the Chicago Board of Trade. So I've been doing this most of my life, you know. So there we go. So here we go. I'm gonna simplify your trading. This system here is greatly simpler than just about everybody else's out there. It looks complicated on the surface, but once you get used to talking about the moon and the planets and all that sort of thing, nothing I had to do is over a grade school level, I promise you. All right, so notice here's your corn chart. Oh, we're going to look at the moon. Why do we? I have other cycles that occurred in the past month, but we're going to review the new moon because we got another new moon coming up in a few days. And this is something that you can go check on Google. You can punch in the new moon, full moon dates, and you can go check your charts and see if Norm's pulling your leg or if it's all for real. It's all objective, empirical information. I can't change anything you're looking at here. I can't pick the date. It's all. I have no control over any of this. Either it works or it doesn't work. That's it. And you can go check it yourself and see if the dates I'm giving you are the correct dates, because it's all based on either the moon or the planets. So let's go look at the new moon back in July, the afternoon of the 20th. We had a new moon in the sign of Cancer. Well, anytime we have a new moon or full moon, I like to borrow from the famous line from the movie Casablanca. We round up the usual suspects: financials, grains, precious metals. And in this case, because it was in Cancer, we'll be emphasizing silver. It may or may not work. We'll see. So here's your grains. There's corn. Corn rallied up on the 20th. There's the 20th there, the new moon. And that was a nice little top there for the corn. If you folks who don't know about grains, their arithmetic is very similar to S&P. Maybe you know about S&P. Every penny movement here is $50. Here's gold. Gold was going sideways until the 20th. And then the next day it broke out to the upside. So I'm going to say that something happened there with the new moon. Here's silver. Did the same thing as gold. Was going pretty much sideways and then broke out on the 20th. And then it was rocket time for both the gold and the silver after the 20th. Here's your beans. Rallied right into the moon there and then kind of topped out there on the moon. Okay, S&P, a little bit early on the S&P. So I'm going to have to use a red arrow for a miss. I have to be right within 1 day or I count it as a miss. Here's a green arrow. That nailed the top in the wild and crazy NASDAQ right there. If the S&P isn't crazy enough for you, you can always go with the NASDAQ, right? Here's bonds. Bonds were going sideways, but they took an extra day to break out, so I had to count that as a miss. Here's wheat. Went down into the moon and made a low and then went up. Notice I don't have an opinion here right ahead of time. If the markets were using Newton's law, we're going to try to predict that, when every action, there's an opposite equal reaction. We're trying to predict when the market is going to react to the move into that time. We don't have to have an opinion. Notice I don't have any moving average or oscillators. I don't count waves. I don't have an opinion. It's very simple. It's a lot less work than what everybody else is doing out there. And I think I do a lot better than 95% that aren't making any money, right? So here we go. Here's the dollar. That was a miss. It was just straight down on the dollar melting down time of a dollar in July. Here we're going sideways here into the new moon. British pound. Now we're in currency land, Forex land. And then there you go. Then it breaks out to the upside on the British pound. Canadian dollar did kind of pull back there into the new moon and then took off. And here's the euro. Did the old sideways and breakout business there at the moon on the 20th, 21st. Here's your yen. That was the best one of all. It pulled down into the moon, made a low, and then took off to the upside. And here's what's coming up. So we got, I'm going to go back a day or so. And we had Venus at an extreme point on Wednesday night. And we have to allow 1 day. And that's why we're still looking at these a day later to this morning. And so there we have cattle, copper, cotton, stocks. Always stocks respond to everything, sugar, and wheat. And then this weekend we have Uranus. There you go, Dale, your favorite planet, Uranus, turning retrograde. What is that? Well, the planets from the point of view of the Earth appear, that's the operative word here, appear to stop their motion and reverse their direction due to the relative motion of the Earth. The analogy, the sort of the model for this is you're driving on the highway and say you're doing 60 miles an hour. And then you look at your speedometer. We'll use you, Dale, as our model here now.
Okay.
And speedometer says, Dale, you're doing a nice leisurely 60 miles an hour. Way to go. And then Dale looks out his side window, and all of a sudden he has the impression he's going backwards. What happened? Somebody passed Dale going 70. And then that gave him the impression he's going backwards by 10 miles an hour.
Can I ask you?
What's that?
Can I ask you a question on these retrogrades and like, you know, Uranus is a planet, Taurus is a constellation.
Well, as soon as I finish this, okay?
No, I just want to ask because it's based on your 8/14 date. Does Taurus have any particular aspect to it, like stubbornness or anything? Is there anything about?
Yeah, well, I want to finish explaining to people what retrograde means.
Okay.
Because there's not going to be any point in talking about it if they don't understand what we're talking about. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I just about to finish. I was going to say this is an Einstein thing, relativity. Everything's relative. And when that person passed Dale, Einstein would say there's two bodies, and when the one body passes the other body, one car passes the other car, there's an exchange there. There's a change in their relationship, and there's an exchange of energy. That's what Einstein would tell you. And then I'll tell you, here's a general principle now. That's one of my top principles. When the planets change trend, the market changes trend. And this is one of my top things. When a planet stops to turn retrograde, and the opposite is it stops to, that's backwards, retrograde is backwards, or when it stops to go direct. That's a very high percentage thing. I would say it bats about somewhere in the neighborhood of 75%. It will give you a change in trend, and this, usually a change in direction for the market. And it also has interesting properties, and often the market, it will act like a magnet in that the market will zip up to the high or zip down to the low the last several weeks, and as we go into that. So I think there's, although we were weak overnight, I don't know what we're doing now on the S&P, but I would think, like we did on Thursday when we opened week, and we rallied all day because that was the Venus thing there. Now we got Uranus. I think we might do the same thing today. You know, if we have a sharp down today into the new moon, into Uranus, then we'll probably make a low one. But I think the more likely scenario is that we're probably going to go up and test those lows again. By the way, the S&P, you know, is knocking right on the all-time high. We got a pandemic. We got a recession. Maybe you could call it a depression, but the stock market doesn't seem to care. So there you go. We're pennies or a few handles, a few dollars away from February's all-time high on the S&P. The NASDAQ has already made a new all-time high as a couple of weeks ago. So there we go. So anyway, so Uranus turning retrograde in the sign Taurus. Now we can talk about the sign Taurus, Dale. That's Taurus, the bull. So we'll be looking at, as you might guess, we'll be looking at cattle. And then because it's Uranus, which is, you know, has to do with in astrology, has to do with electricity. That's copper is your big conductor for electric. And then because it's in Taurus, I got the cotton and stocks. Okay. And then we're going to I'm going to show the charts here in a minute. And then we're going to new moon in Leo, which again, we round up the usual specs. That was the Uranus was over the weekend here. So we look into Monday's opening, probably Monday. We'll get some big reversal in Monday. And then on Tuesday night, we have a new moon in the sign Leo. And so we'll round up our usual suspects, financials, grains, precious metals, and especially corn, which is a Leo item, gold, and OJ. Okay, so watch those markets. If you're interested in those markets, watch those for extremes. That's what we're looking for these markets to get to extremes in these windows, okay, that I designated windows. So there we go. Here's cattle. I did these charts last night. We want to look at these charts as we get to the close of the day or Monday's opening. So far, cattle is on its highs, so that would be a good candidate for a possible short there on cattle. Notice I don't have an opinion. The system gives you tells you what to do. Okay, Thinking is hazardous to your financial health. You know, the less you think, you better you will do in trading. All right, here's copper. It's kind of in a choppy, sloppy, choppy middle. It better zoom up or zoom down if you want to do anything in copper. Otherwise, I'd leave it alone. If it's going sideways, that's not good. Newton would tell you don't do anything because the opposite of, reaction to sideways is more of the same. Right? It's a mirror image. So you're just probably going to get more of the same. Kind of the same thing here on the cotton right now. It's in the middle of the range. Want to see a zoom up or zoom down here into Friday's close, and then you might have something. Sugar is on its highs here now. It has to turn, because this is based on that Venus point we had Wednesday night and Thursday. I give it one day. It has to turn down here today, or it's going to be a miss. All right, that's pretty much it. Did you have any questions or comments, Dale, before I go on to tell the folks how they can get a hold of me?
Well, it's related to that. One of our attendees, Norwegian Jane, said that she's tried to email you and it bounced back. So
I don't know, what email are they using?
Yeah, we'll see. Is this the one you use, Norwegian? And Winsky, right here? If you're still with us.
And embark with a Q. A lot of people like to put a G there where there's a Q.
Okay,
that's
that may be
That's
it.
a Q right there. Embark, right. B-A-R-Q. If you're an American and you drink soda pop, you might know about Barks root beer. That's Coca-Cola's brand of beer. EMBARQMAIL.com. And you can Skype me too, or you could call me.
Yeah, you could take a screenshot of his contact info right here.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And I got free classes. I got a free day trading class. I got an advanced swing trading class. Requires about 5 to 6 hours of training. So we'll talk about the deal on that. And I teach a GAN. You can learn GAN. I've reduced GAN to about 20 minutes. Most people are tortured by GAN for 5 to 10 years. That's a 5 to 10 year torture. I got it reduced to about 20 minutes. And you can learn advanced Fibonacci. I'm going to teach you Lucas numbers. Almost Fibonacci people. A lot of traders don't know, never heard of Lucas. And so advanced Fibonacci, fractals, I'll teach you fractals, all this stuff. And I've reduced everything to a grade school level. Now you don't need any fancy formulas. If you had to do fancy formulas, I couldn't do it. Anything over grade school level, I couldn't do. So I learned how to do all this stuff. Simple. I'm big on simple. All right. So I hope I can help some of your folks. Call me right away. We'll get you set up for the September class schedule, and we'll see how it goes. Thanks a lot, Dale, for having me on. Any more questions or comments before we
Any more questions for Nikita saying, oh, so it isn't based just on planets because you use other tools. But a lot of it is related to, everything's related to each other, isn't it?
Everything's related to what?
Each other. Planets, cycles. You can't do it without the planets. Anything, right?
Right. Well, everything's related. We're all connected together. Yeah. The cosmologists would tell you that we're made out of stardust. When the universe was created, it was all a bunch of matter splattered all over the place. And we're made out of the same stuff the stars and the planets are made out of. We're all vibrating with the same atoms and molecules. It's a matter of how they got mixed together.
Okay. Anyway,
one of Gann's big things was he said everything is vibrating.
Yeah. Anyway, this I think is an opportunity to learn things that you're not going to really find from a guy who has been delving into it and refining it for all of these decades. And hey, let's face it, Norm, you and I have been around for a while. We're not going to be around forever. It's an opportunity to learn from somebody who really is very well known for this type of work, and it's because it's good work. Okay, so Norm, have a great weekend. Maybe I'll see you before the holidays this October, and thanks for coming in today. I hope some people sign up and take advantage of your knowledge.
Thank you very much, Dale, and looking forward to helping some of your folks. Please contact me right away. I get busy at the end of the month here, so the best time to contact me would be today. Okay.
Someone's saying you should write a book.
I'm sorry?
Someone asked if you have a book.
I don't have a book. You have it. You can talk to me.
Yeah, there you go. He's the book. So with that being said, everyone, don't just count your pips, count your blessings. Hope everyone, we laid it out on the court for you guys this week. Have a great weekend. Do your work on the weekend so that you're prepped for next week. And adios. Have a good weekend. Stay safe, everyone. Thank you, Monica. Thank you, Norm, again. You're welcome, Skip. You too, Nikita. Adios.